Right, welcome back on the YouTube, back with a pull day. So today we are going to take you through my 4 all-time favourite exercises for back to help your back training and hopefully grow a bigger back, which is always the goal if we are training back. You know, that's the kind of purpose. But anyway, when it comes to a complete back development, I do think variations of pulls, rows, pull downs, single arm pull downs, they're all needed, right? But one thing that we cannot neglect as well is the hip hinge work. Now, where you place your hip hinge work is very much individual. You don't have to do it on a back day. You can do it on a leg day. It ultimately comes down to a preference. Now, you see old arguments online about where you should place your exercise selection when it comes to your hip hinge work, when it suits you the most, guys. For me personally, it didn't work quite as well placing my hip hinge work on my pull days, therefore I do it on leg days. So try what works best for you. Don't really think about what anyone else does. Focus on your own training, trial and error, try both methods, and pick what works best for you, what suits you the most. Write that down. So, as you will have already seen, my pull sessions and my leg days start with a 1 set of hanging leg raise to failure. Now, the reason why I do it on leg days is leg raise directly trains your hip flexors. So that's one of the benefits. Reason why I do it on pull day, it allows me to actually keep a much stronger brace for all my rowing and lat pull down movements. Now, the more stable your core is, the better time you will actually have performing any movement that challenges the back correctly. So massive tip, guys. Train your core. Not only has benefits when it comes to presenting your physique on stage, but it also has benefits when it comes to training. The warm-up at the moment is pretty short. It's literally 5 to 6 minutes. So generally, I don't really have any issues when it comes to mobility or when it comes to having niggles, touch wood. So I don't need to do anything specific before my workouts to be pain-free, because I am pain-free. And that is mainly down to better execution and good exercise selection. Most people have issues down to, with no disrespect, having shit form, shit programming. I'm going to be bluntly honest. That is a fact. If you find yourself coming to the gym feeling broken, you are doing something wrong. That is a fact. That is what I used to do. Ever since I've been able to actually fine-tune a lot of my training and make sure that my exercise selection is actually pretty decent, I've got no issues. Voila, I'm pain-free. So if you can't train a certain body part, or you're having issues of pain training a certain body part, more than likely you need to address your training execution and your exercise selection. Exercise number 1. Chest supported row. The focus here is overall back musculature. In particular, we are trying to train our upper back. So this move in particular, the biggest focus is as much range of motion as possible whilst using as much load as we can with great execution. So pay attention here, guys. We are not using any momentum. We are staying in total control of the movement all the way through and spending some time in change of direction. So what I mean by that is spending a certain amount of time in the stretch and in the shortened range when fully retract. So just pay attention to our position here and the way we move throughout the movement and how we perform it as well. First exercise, guys, you always notice we always do extra warm-up sets on the first movement of the session. After this movement, I will only need maybe 1 feeder set to go straight into the next exercise. So, biggest mistake I see people make: 1, waste time in the gym; 2, waste valuable energy in the gym doing suboptimal sets with very little effort. The whole purpose of a warm-up set or a feeder set is to allow you to perform to your best and to your maximum capacity for your working set. These are sets that should not take away from your working set. So be mindful of how you use them, and more importantly, how many of them you need. After your first exercise, when you're warm, ready to go, after you've already worked, 1, maximum 2 feeder sets is all you're going to need on a back movement. Pressing, there's a caveat to this, and I will cover that next time. Yes, sir. This is our 3rd warm-up set now, and I'm actually going to take another because we are going to use a decent amount of load in here, so I need a few extra feeder sets to get me going. So be strategic with your warm-up sets and take the sets that you need without overdoing it and wasting time and energy. Okay. Last touch and it's game time. All day. When it comes to back training, a big consideration people have to make is no exercise truly totally isolates one portion of your back. This is predominantly going to be biased towards my upper back, but that only means that it's only targeting my upper back slightly more than the lat. It doesn't mean my lat is not doing any work. This movement, my whole back musculature is working. It's just that one portion of my back will be working slightly more than the other. And the same principle applies on the following movements that we're going to do that are more biased towards the lat or the upper back. You do have to know the difference between both though. That is when your back training truly evolves and you can reach that next level. Yep. Whew. Fucking hell. Oh. Yeah. I wasn't meant to do a stack. I was meant to do the one after stack. Well, I was down by 1 rep. And I was thinking, why the fuck am I down by 1 rep? But I've put heavy on. Big fucking progress, motherfuckers. Right, back off set. Always makes me laugh when people say that we overcomplicate shit. The reason why you're watching this fucking channel is because you want to improve your training. If you are looking at a weight and you're growing and you're responding, you're probably not watching bodybuilding clips. You're probably not watching training clips. You're probably just sitting and chilling and getting massive. So when people say, bodybuilding isn't that complicated, well, you go in the gym, do whatever and see what kind of results you get. Trust me, 1% only can come in the gym. Look at a weight and grow. If you are not that 1%, you are probably watching this channel for a reason. Therefore, shut up and watch the content and enjoy. Lovely. So like I mentioned earlier, this exercise, 1 touch, 1 feeder set, which is literally going to be 3 reps just to get used to the load and get used to the movement before I go into my working set. Why? I'm warmed up enough. I don't need any warm-up sets. I've just done 2 working sets on there with a full stack. I don't need 3-4 sets on a single arm cable pull down to get me ready to my working set. Absolutely not. That would be a waste of time and energy Exercise number 2, seated single arm cable pull down. Why are we doing it on a bench seated away from cables? Pretty simple. If I sit on that bench, I'll force my hand to go above the head, like this. In that plane of motion, again, not the most ideal to target the lat. When we are trying to train the lat, it's best trained in this plane, allowing our arm to travel forward and up without shoulder elevating and protracting. Now, shoulder elevation protraction is much better for upper back movements, which we'll go through. So this exercise in particular, we want to keep our shoulder in slight depression with your arm internal rotating and then driving the elbow down into the pocket of the hip. Keeping your wrist slight semi-supination. Now, look what happens as I turn my fist. So up to my elbow, exactly that. This is exactly why I want to keep slight semi-supination, just to cue the arm path tracking directly in, staying as close to the rib cage as possible. Now, in terms of range of motion, it's pretty simple. If we are trying to particularly try and train the lat, we are aiming for our elbow to finish parallel with the rib cage. Now, if you have poor mobility like Mark, this exercise is ideal for the bigger individuals to target the lat. It allows you to work in a very comfortable range of motion and a comfortable plane that allows you to train its lat for its full range of motion. I only got 9 last time, so I want to get 10. Pina colada flavoured, sustain, intra carbohydrates, absolutely tremendous. Now, most carb powders only have cyclic dextrin. This actually has a mix of cyclic dextrin and palantinose, whatever you actually pronounce it like, I don't know. But it's got a mixture of fructose in it, which from research has shown to improve your uptake of carbohydrates. So it is by far the most superior intra-high carbohydrate formula on the market. Also contains glutamine, creatine, so it's tremendous if you want to get fucking huge and recover tremendously well. Much better reps as well. When you understand the difference between lat bias training and upper back bias training, when you actually train your lats for the first time, the sensation you get is absolutely amazing. It should literally feel like your whole lat is wrapping into the bottom of your spine. It actually feels pretty epic. So those of you who know, you know. And if you don't know, you will get to know after watching this video. The biggest thing for lat training, guys, it's simple posture. Keep a nice neutral spine, core contracted, braced, no crunching down, just a nice bit of pressure to keep good stability. Sternum stays up to stay nice and upright. And again, as I come down, I use my opposite side hand to pull myself in to be able to keep my shoulder into slight depression. We don't want this or elevation. We want the shoulder to stay nice and tucked. So from here, I pull myself in, get myself in position, slight semi-supination at the fist, using the opposite side arm to brace, posture, inhale, bracing, and then we go.
So lat focus row, with contact point with your feet, you want to make sure that your working side's leg has got full contact point with whatever point it is on the machine. On this one, obviously, it's a flat little point there. You want to make sure that your arm is fully, and shoulder is fully aligned with the movement arm. You don't want to be kind of in and out because you want to make sure that your elbow can literally just drive forwards and backwards. You want to make sure that your core's locked super tight. You don't want to be hunched over like a shitting dog, but you do want to make sure that your core is locked tight so you almost get a little bit of a tilt with your pelvis underneath you. But don't make sure make sure that you don't let your upper body come over as well. And then just making sure the only things working is your arm and elbow driving forwards and then driving into the hip. That's the only thing that should be working. Should be no movement with the torso, everything should be locked in, and literally just driving forwards and backwards, keeping everything and all your tension into your lat. Always make sure in a lat focus row that you've got a tiny little supination in your wrist. You can be neutral grip, but for the most of us and how we all work biomechanically, it is a little bit better to keep a tiny little turn, just to keep that elbow moving where it needs to be.
To get the most out of your lat, you have to target all 3 divisions of your lat. Now, is that something you need to be overly obsessed with? No. To really simplify it, right, train your lat in 3 planes of motion. Above the head, a rowing motion, and then in this plane. That's all that means. Because in that way, you tick all the 3 boxes for all the different divisions of your lat. Now, can you truly isolate them? Fuck no, you can't. But can you do a movement that is slightly biased towards it? Yes, you absolutely can. Therefore, if you know how to do it, utilizing these movements, get it done. You will benefit from it. Bonus point today, guys. We are going to go through how to get the most out of your 45 hip extension to target your glutes. If Jem was just using dumbbells here, the resistance really is only heavy at the bottom. It will drop off as she comes up. Now, with this movement in particular, come down with no weight, please. Right? What we want the most out of this movement is Jem needs massive glutes for stage. So as she comes up, we need to add tension exactly here at the top. Now, dumbbells aren't going to do that. However, a band where the tension drops off at this point and then comes on heavy here will give us exactly that. So if you want to improve the resistance profile of this machine to target glutes more, that's exactly what you can do. But I want you to external rotate your leg as well. There. Now, core stays braced, core braced, and now hinge. Drive up hard. Hips hard. Up, up, up. That's it. That's it. Right. Pause here now and drive up. Up hard. That's it. That's exactly what I want you now. Pause here and drive up hard. Yes. As I was saying regarding your actual lat fibers, so exercise number 2, targeted the lower lat fibers. Now, your thoracic lat fibers that run upwards towards your thoracic spine will have been touched on the first exercise, which probably targets the upper back. But if I was to actually use that machine for lats, I could actually train the thoracic lat fibers running in this plane of motion to target the lat, which is upward. Now, to target the 3rd division of your lat, which is obviously the mid portion of the lat, this is the exercise that I think is king of them all, which is a seated lat bias row. Again, you can do this on cables, you can do any variation of this. I've got the pleasure of using prime machines. If you don't have them, don't worry, you can actually do this movement on pretty much any back exercise. Main cues, guys, same principle as exercise number 2. Keep in posture, good solid brace, and again, arm into slight semi-supination to make sure that the arm path stays nice and tucked, driving the elbow down and into the pocket of the hip. Watch my execution in this, guys, and watch where my elbow travels at. Slight protraction in this move in particular is okay as long as my shoulder does not elevate. So there's a caveat to this, is we want to keep our shoulder into slight depression in the pull down, but this movement in particular, we can allow some protraction to get more stretch at the lat without the shoulder elevating. Now, let me show that in action. Because we've got a chest pad here, we're not just guessing position. Everything's set exactly where we need it. So we've got the contact point, and that's it. We know exactly what's what because we've got that set, so it's standardized. If that wasn't here, one day we might be a little bit closer. One day we might be a little bit further back.
Making it easier,
yeah.
harder, randomly, yeah.
Everything that we do across any movement, we need to keep some sort of standardization, whether that's the setup, tempo, rep ranges even. We need to try and make sure that if this machine, we're going to start progressing load, everything needs to be standardized so it's not changing. Do you know what I mean? Me and Alex went to the same school, just an interesting conversation we just had, is all the people that were expected to be really successful just didn't really make anything. Now, he can pull a test to this. Everyone at my school, because I was always in training, I didn't really care about anything else, including all teachers, they basically said I was going to be a loser. Definitely not. Now, one teacher, Mr. Turner, that's Alex Turner's dad from Arctic Monkeys. He actually taught my school. He was the only person, and I'll never forget that for the rest of my life. He said in front of one of the head teachers as well, and it embarrassed him. He said, that lad can be whoever he wants to be. And that really, really sank in, and I'll never forget that for the rest of my life because I always held on to that thought when people used to tell me, like, you'll never get anywhere in life, or you'll not be anyone just because you're not into what the society expects you to be into. It's not fucking true. I've turned my fucking passion into a job. So that is all the success in the world for me because I'm doing what I love. Right.
Yeah.
Ah!
That's hard. I tried this hard through. There you go.
Fucking hell. When you get any lat movement right, it almost feels like your lats are getting ripped apart from the base of your spine all the way into your armpit. It's a sensation unlike any other. And it only took me like 10 years to be able to master it, which is pretty fucking crazy, think about it. But this is why we love bodybuilding. You always learn, you always improve, you always develop. So a little bit of a recap, guys, on what we've gone through. As I like to remind you, exercise number 1, targeting the upper back and the thoracic division of our lat. Exercise number 2, targeting the lower lat. Exercise number 3, lat bias row, targeting the mid lat. Now we are going to finish off, almost finish off, as we do have one more exercise, on an upper back pull down. Now this variation of upper back pull down, I'm going to give credit where it's due. Nick Goff has gone through this movement numerous times with me, and it's definitely a movement that I've only just started to master, and it's definitely unmatched with any other variation of back pull down. So I will go for some execution cues with you shortly, but first we'll get set up, so game time. With a lot of upper back movements, you'll probably get told to keep a pronated wrist. Now, it's not wrong, but it doesn't mean that you can't train your upper back with a neutral grip. This movement in particular would be ideal with a pronated grip, which is this. If was targeting the rear delt, like this, in this plane of motion. That's not the goal. The goal of upper back training is to get as much range of motion at the scapula as possible. So here, my goal is to allow my scapula to go into elevation and protraction, get a full stretch, and then We want full retraction. Imagine that we are trying to wrap our shoulder blades back around the spine. So, a few cues that I like to give here. As I sit in the seat, I like to log my legs in and I pull myself in using my hamstrings. So, as you come in, I actually like to go on my tippy toes and pull myself in, pull my hips in using my hamstring. Everything sternum below stays nice and neutral, my core braced. And then from here, the only thing that extends is my thoracic, lifting my ribcage up and leaning back slightly, so I'm able to get a lot more range of motion across my upper back. Now, as I go into a stretch, I imagine that I'm trying to hide my pecs completely with my shoulders. So, as I go into full range of motion, what you'll notice, guys, is my shoulders fully elevate and protract. I spend some time in that stretch, and then I drive my elbows back and around. But, caveat for this, guys, keeping a neutral grip allows you to actually get a lot more range of motion and stretch at your upper back. Now, with this movement as well, each and every single rep, as I go into a stretch, I try and reach for more range of motion. I try and open up my scapula and my upper back a little bit more with every rep. Now, the bigger you are, the harder time you will have to get that bit more range of motion. However, with practice, anything's double. Skill, again, comes as a repetition of doing a certain movement. The more times you do it, the more skillful you get it. Same principle applies with this. Fucking hell. Now, with this exercise, you don't really feel it that much until you finish, and then it literally feels like your whole back is just blowing. The stretch you get from this is unbelievable. So, spending some time and creating that tension in that stretch just makes it so much better. It's definitely turned into my favorite upper back variation of a pull down of all time. Fucking hell. Last back exercise of the day. Crossbody pullover. Now, pullover machine. You've all seen Dorian use it, right? It's a great movement. However, I would argue cable is better. But who am I? I'm not Dorian. I don't have a huge back, but I am improving my back. Now, again, credit to Mr. Gloff. He's the one that's brought this variation on the scene, and it's extremely effective when it comes to training your lat in length and range, so in the stretch to finish off the sequence of the exercises. Now, we talk about exercise selection quite frequently and how exercise selection has to complement one another. So finishing with this movement is a perfect option because it's not really taxing. However, when it comes to accuracy of training your lat, I'm training it in the length and range of the stretch where it's still the strongest and it still has some power left, is a great option at the end of the workout. So without further ado, cross body, lat pull over. Another cue I like to give on a pull down is, as Mark comes into the stretch, he's actually pushing his ribcage away from his hands. What that will actually do is create a lot more range of motion and in essence, allow him to get a lot more stretch in his lat and his upper back musculature. That is back smoked. Moving on to rear delts and then bicep. So relatively short session, guys. However, on paper, like Mark mentioned, it doesn't look like much. However, when you break down what we actually do and the amount of work that we're putting, it's actually a lot of work. Now, the biggest thing that I want to go through, guys, is at the beginning of your journey, the only thing that you need to really understand is what the difference is between your upper back and lat training. Once you've mastered that, you're good to go. You don't need to overly stress yourself about trying to target different divisions of your lat. Don't get me wrong, it helps. As you get further along your journey, you will need to consider these little nuance things that really allow you to take things to the next level. However, if you're a beginner, consider this. A hip hinge movement on leg day or back day, whatever it suits. A variation of a lat bias pull down. A variation of a lat bias row. A variation of upper back pull down. And some rear delt work and arm work. That is all you have to worry about to get complete back development. The pump is the cure. On a serious note, you know the pump is good when you cannot fucking move. That is a sign of a successful session. And the best thing is, guys, we don't fucking train for a pump at all. A pump is a byproduct of good training execution, controlled tempo, and hitting your actual rep range targets with good control. That's all it is. You do not need to train for a pump. All you need to prioritize is full range of motion, good execution, and tempo work. And you will get a massive pump and huge muscles if you progressive overload. Oh, fuck off. Yep.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Walk now.
So the more I speak to clients and people in general on socials and even in the gym, the world has turned into a very hateful place. So whatever you are doing, guys, if someone is taking the time out of your day to try and put you down or try and almost derail you from your goals, please, whatever happens or whatever gets said, whatever even gets done, do not let it affect you. Do not let it derail you from your goals, because I can speak from experience, guys. If I personally let everything that got said about me or continues to get said about me get to my head, I would not be doing what I'm doing right now. I would not be chasing my passion. I would not be living my dream right now. So whatever happens, guys, stay on the mission and keep the tunnel vision going. There's no distraction on this road. You need to keep on that path and literally walk down it every single day. And that path is the path that will lead you towards your success in whatever you set out to achieve. All right, watch my position here. See now, look at my fist, my elbow and my shoulder, all in one straight line, yeah? From here, literally just drive my elbow down and in, curl up, all the way through. Now, if I was to use both arms, look at the range of motion I'm getting now. Now watch single arm. See the difference now, yeah? There's just so much more intent you can focus on your bicep as well. Like, bicep is a really small body part, so trying to use a lot of weight with any bicep motion really is a no-go. It's a small muscle, it's not a strong muscle either. So you can probably get away with a lot less load and get so much more from it. So just give it a go now. Get in your position, brace with opposite side hand, get in, make sure that is aligned, and then push yourself in, and as you're driving through, curl up and drive the elbow down and in, all the way through, pause, and then come back down, nice controlled fashion. As you're coming down to the stretch, think about lifting your elbow away from the actual pad, and watch the actual sensation you get in your bicep as well. Thank you so much for watching, guys. That is a wrap up. I will do a separate video going over my favorite bicep movements, but today was all about back training, so a little bit of snippet of bicep and rear delt training. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Please share, like, subscribe. If you like the channel, like the videos, give us some love, show some support, and peace out for now, guys. I will see you again soon. And if you want to support me, want to support the channel, trainbyjp.com, shop using my code KUBA10. As always, guys, giving back, and take care for now, and peace out.